Good morning, everyone. It is October 8th. Going to give an update on what's going on with regard to Israel and its fight against Hamas. But before I do that, I want to give you an overarching map of the region and potential players in this situation. So, obviously, in the center, we have Israel. To Israel's south, we have Egypt, who has been providing intelligence to Israel. To the north, we have Lebanon, which is where a lot of the concern for Hezbollah comes in. And then Syria, which is where a lot of the terrorist organizations will flow weapons into Israel via Lebanon, but also through their own routes internally from Syria. And then to the east, you have Jordan. What doesn't border Israel is Iran, which is way over here, but still a major player in that situation. Now, zooming in on Israel proper, let's get an idea of where a lot of the fighting is taking place. There's two key areas. First is the Gaza Strip, which is right here. Second is the West Bank, and then up here to the when you look up north, which we're not looking at right now, you have the potential movements coming out of Lebanon. Okay, switching maps, so you can kind of see where the battles are taking place using the live map system that's been used for Ukraine. They're also doing it for this Israel Hamas fight. You can see where much of the fighting is taking place surrounding the Gaza Strip. Mostly, you're seeing things in the towns of like Halit, Takuma, Bari, Eshkol. Rockets have been launched in the north up towards Lebanon. I'll talk about that, the implications there a little bit later. But up north, we're looking at small skirmishes and artillery fire. But largely, the fighting has been localized around the Gaza Strip near Israel's southern border with Egypt. Currently, most of the skirmishes look something like this: Israeli military dismounting and engaging targets. They see targets of opportunity, usually just small groups of dismounted Hamas infantry. And this is what's taking place around most of these towns. Small arms fire with some artillery. The Israelis do have air coverage, but much of the Israeli armor and heavy and mechanized capability has not been brought into the fight. So this is mostly what we're seeing on the battlefield currently. That being said, Israeli army, including the Merkava Mark III and Mark IV main battle tanks, as well as a number of self-propelled artillery batteries, have begun to arrive at their staging areas in northern Israel near the border with Lebanon, as well as moving and staging in and around the Gaza Strip. Their order is to defend against any aggression launched by Hezbollah in the north. In the south, looking at Gaza, it's most likely to stage for a future ground invasion. Israel has issued an immediate evacuation order for pretty much a swath of Israeli territory surrounding Gaza that runs roughly like this in an arc around the Gaza Strip in order to prevent unnecessary civilian casualties pertaining to likely fighting that's going to take place in the near future when a ground invasion takes place into Gaza Strip. The Israeli death toll has now risen past 600, and last night Israel invoked Article 40 Aleph, which means Israel officially declared war against Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, placing Israel in a state of total war. The last time this took place was in 1973 for the Yom Kippur War. At a meeting of the Israeli National Security Cabinet, they said the Israeli Defense Forces will soon begin an operation that will bring forth the complete destruction of the military and governmental capability of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Israeli citizens who are abroad have reportedly begun to receive phone calls notifying them of their call-up to active military service. The call-up order for Israeli reservists increased from 100,000 yesterday to 150,000. Israeli embassies in a number of countries, including the United States, Germany, and the UK, are in the process of organizing charter flights to get Israeli reservists back to the U.S. as fast as possible. Senior U.S. officials have reportedly stated that it is too early to tell if the Iranian government was involved in the planning and supporting the operation launched last night by Hamas, or if Hezbollah will become further involved. But this is a very political stance, considering Hamas is directly controlled by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is a part of the Iranian armed forces. In fact, Iranian leader Ayatollah Khamenei said in a tweet, "God willing, the cancer of the usurper Zionist regime will be eradicated at the hands of the Palestinian people and the resistance forces throughout the region." He referenced the Hamas operation's name, Al-Aqsa Storm, and then posted a video of people fleeing the Festival of Peace, the music festival of peace. It was at this festival that over 250 bodies were discovered in southern Israel. Many of the bodies consisted of foreign nationals, including Americans, Germans, Canadians, and Norwegians. This festival was meant to be a festival to bring unity and peace among Palestinians and Israelis, but it was the site of a major massacre with people, including people from around the world, and this massacre was perpetuated at the hands of Hamas. Also, Lebanon-based Hezbollah has claimed that they are responsible for rocket and mortar attacks against the Israeli Defense Force radar installations on Mount Dov in northern Israel. The Israeli Defense Force announced that it conducted a drone strike against the outpost that fired the missiles, and there hasn't been an official declaration from Hezbollah as to whether they're fully joining the fight. These just might be one-off little cells that are taking pot shots at Israel. But Hezbollah has said that if a ground incursion by Israel takes place in the Gaza Strip, they will join. Hezbollah, if you didn't know, is a Lebanese Shia Islamist militant group that also has backing from Iran. Now, the hostage situations in some of the cities are finally ending as special tactical units have been taking out Hamas terrorists and gaining control of some of these situations, saving the people from their captors. The Israeli ambassador to the UN believes that there are dozens of American nationals, though, who are currently being held as hostage in Gaza Strip by Hamas. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has confirmed that Americans have been killed in Israel over the last 48 hours by Hamas, and a number are kidnapped. The governments of Jordan and Egypt, as well as the UN, are reportedly attempting to secure the release of a number of children and elders who were captured by Hamas terrorists and seen on video being paraded around. An Egyptian policeman opened fire against Israeli tourists, killing 2 of them. And the Polish government has announced that it's preparing to evacuate their citizens who are currently trapped in Israel. Other countries are doing this with multiple C-130s. These are transport aircraft being spun up to pull citizens from other countries out of Israel in order to keep them safe. That's kind of the big update, and I'll keep you posted as more stuff takes place. Thanks, everyone.